Mixed tacos.
I highly suggest that you like that.
I'm telling you,
salsa.
the salsas, the everything. What do we got? We got Kevin coming in from Jackson, Georgia. Megan Byers saying, make sure to bring some of them tacos home. Some of them tacos home.
You found a new shop by you?
La Fondita, it's by Sean Ratz. It's like 3 minutes walking from Sean Ratz's house.
Oh, perfect.
And I was like, man, how many times a week do you eat at this place? And he goes, what place?
What? You didn't know about it?
No, he didn't know about it. It's been next to him probably for 20 years. But the place has like loteria inside. The workers hardly speak English. It is. They're making the tortillas. This is, I think this is either barbacoa or birria, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
But, oh, it's so damn good.
McClurkin's in, of course Larry Adams is in.
Of course.
Ooh, Larry Adams. I wonder if he's shaking off his Frisco hangover yet.
I think he's still pretty Frisco hungover.
That's a cute little case. What the fuck is that thing?
That's like a chiso carrying.
What is that? Is it you put your fishing lures in there?
I mean, if you want. For me, it's just my little gadget case.
I'm not going to tell you about the new accessory that's coming in from France, but the new accessories we have coming in from France are bad. Ass. You know what they are, so don't say it.
No, I don't. What are they? Oh, I know what they are. You want to know what they are?
Sure.
Not going to tell you.
They're going to be here on Monday.
I bought one for Andrew.
I had some made next level.
What do you mean you had some made? You realize how hard it was for me to just find it and buy one for him?
Wait till you see this.
I paid retail plus shipping from France for these shit. I'm glad at least we're bringing them in so mine can be at less cost than I paid.
Do you want me to at least tell you what the coolest part of this thing is? When you flip it open. No, when you flip it open, you ready for this? The Dallas skyline is etched into it.
Because we're in Dallas.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool. I had to have one for Kevin Owens.
He's ready? 10 seconds.
And I got one that's purple for our gayer customers.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Can't say that.
We're not on here yet.
Yeah, we are. One second. Now we're live. Okay, now don't say that.
Okay, sorry.
What's happening? What's up, Eric?
Are we live? We're live.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salute. All right. Cheers to all of you. Welcome in. This is Eye to Eye.
Eye to Eye. Nice.
Yeah, he taught me. Wow. What is that? It's like an old Viking thing? Mafia thing.
You don't know the story?
No. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, do this. Look at him. When he does it.
Oh, does it have to be like this?
De Niro.
Or just look at each other?
Look at each other. Alright, we'll take it to
I do it the pirate way. Scared.
You don't know the backstory on it. I didn't explain it.
You told me, but I can't remember.
It's mafia shit. So, obviously family culture, dinners, specific dinners are a big thing, right? Well, there's an old fable, mafia fable, that when you take a toast, everybody looks eye to eye, the man doesn't look at you in the eye, looks at you.
Shit.
Oh.
Telltale sign. Hey, Pop, say cheers. Watch this.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Got something in my eye.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Hey, if you're watching this is Tuesday. It is formerly Cigars 101. This is now Cigar Talk and also education if you ask questions, but predominantly Cigar Talk.
If you ask questions, we will answer them.
No doubt.
Guaranteed.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Shouldn't make promises.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And if you're watching this on Facebook, give this a share. If you're watching it up there, Cigars and Guns, what's happening? To stage right, we have the man, the myth, Mr. Charles Walls.
That's the man.
What's up, Chuck?
What's up, fellas? How we doing? I appreciate the invite.
See that?
No, thanks for joining, man.
No, man, it's awesome. I love this place.
Yeah.
It's an awesome forum to talk about what we love. So
That's it. And really what this is a beautiful way to go. Your wife says, I don't understand what cigar smoking is all about, or your friend, I don't understand what cigars are all about. Well, this is basically this is us smoking a cigar live.
Yeah.
And you guys all get a chance to just sit and smoke a cigar with us, and this is what it is to smoke a cigar and talk shit, because that's what's happening.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And you know, believe it or not, actually, we can have content that has something to do with cigars. We can talk life and shit in general.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that's out there on the internet that is selling itself as information, and it's just dudes reading. Oh, hey, Mark. Hey, John.
That's kind of what we do.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we'll throw somebody some shit every once in a while. We got somebody from Brownsville, Texas.
Brownsville, Texas. We
got Georgia in the house. We got Missouri in the house.
Missouri.
We got Larry Adams. Evan is Evan in the house?
Evan Hurst.
Evan Hurst. Guy's a folk hero around here. No one's even met him.
No. What an awesome time it was this weekend. Did you get a chance to meet Larry Adams?
I did.
Larry and Julie came in from LaGrange, Missouri.
Okay.
They came and spent the weekend here. I don't think you get it.
No, I wasn't here, so I didn't get to know.
If you want to talk about what a cigar culture is all about, that's what this was. It was unbelievable to watch out just all engulfed them with just showering down love.
Yeah.
God, it's just such a cool thing.
That's awesome.
What is the cigar culture to you?
Man, that's a great question. So for me, it's been like an extension of my family, right? So like, not to get all soft, you guys have become more of my family than my family just because of the amount of time that I've spent with you.
Sure.
So for me, cigar culture is not only just relaxation and the ability to unwind after a long week or a long day, but it's a chance to connect. And then, you know, I read this interesting study that talked about how most people stop learning after they turn 25. Most people stop reading, and most people stop learning in general after they turn 25. If you're in the cigar culture, you never stop learning. Because there's always something new. Nobody knows everything.
Yeah.
Right? And then everybody knows something different. So for me, cigar culture also is a learning experience more than anything else. So that's what it is for me.
That's actually a really good point, because the best, we talk about this almost week in and week out, the best of the best of the best are the ones who say, I know nothing, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nestor is just that same way. That's a good point, though, because I never thought about that. Yeah, once you're done with school, done with school.
I mean, and like literally, most the statistics say most people don't read at all after 25, and if they do read, it's one book a year, right? So now everybody learns a different way. Everybody might not like to read. You know, that's fine. That's on them. But another way to learn is to be around people who have knowledge and you seek it from them, right? And I think
be open to it.
Be open to it and let it be organic. And here, specifically at Industrial, everything that you guys have crafted has produced an organic effect. So nothing's forced, right? I feel like I've got a degree in cigars since I've been here. You know, like, but it wasn't forced. You know, I'm not showing up with a pen and pad every day. I'm not badgering you guys with questions, but it's like osmosis. I just soak it in, you know? So yeah, that's what cigar culture is for me.
You start seeing that too, because we've got new family members in here, right? We've got new staff team who's building them, and great guys, relatively new to cigars.
Right.
And you start seeing this. What you don't realize is how much you know when you're trying to teach somebody who doesn't have the same the same base.
No question.
You go, so the Envoy is different than the Brindille in this way, and different than the Koshan. And I'm going, I just spent 7 minutes talking about 3 cigars.
Right.
How are you going to look at 15,000 cigars and go, oh, okay, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
The coolest thing for me is, and you've caught this a couple of times. I'll be in the humidor and we'll have a guest in. If somebody doesn't really smoke regularly, you can tell they're wandering around looking for something. And you know, let's say if somebody on staff might be busy or something, and I'm like, hey man, can I help? And it's like I know the humidor like the back of my hand. You know, like, and they can tell me. Now I'm not an expert compared to you guys, but like I asked them what their palate is. You know, what kind of strength they want, and then I can point them in the right direction. I couldn't do that 3 years ago.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I couldn't do that.
You point them to what you like, may not,
The coolest thing is though, I can point them to something that I don't smoke. You know, like there's certain things that I don't smoke, but if they say, oh, they like X, Y, Z, oh, you might want to try this. It's not my favorite, but this is right up your alley. Yeah. You know, like that's awesome. That's a testament to you guys.
And it's a great thing because we know that if you get fired from the practice, then we've got a great business opportunity for you here, working the humidor.
Yeah, let's not.
And it's not. And if you come work for us, just understand it's not about the money.
Right.
It's about the fun and
never about the money.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's say that it's never about the money.
Yeah.
So
no, I think it's you sent me a text. He won't say it, but Chuck Hens is scouting for the Cleveland Browns and was in Cleveland because camp started this week. And you sent me a text and said this town needs some help.
It's such a they need a lounge like Industrial there, and they're trying. It's one of those things like the heart is there, but it takes more than heart to execute. There's a know-how, there's experience, and I mean I'm telling you guys like there is fertile land up there.
Yeah, not interested. Not interested.
But we're spoiled, right? I mean, as you travel, like me, I'll go to different cigar lounges, and I've sat in many where this ashtray just builds up. And no one will come, and I'll have to get it myself and dump it out.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, so I go to this lounge while I'm in camp. I walk in, probably about the same floor space as the public lounge. And not dirty, clean, whatever. I walk in the humidor. The humidor was probably about half the size of this room. And the gentleman, super nice guy who runs it. He asked me, he was trying to get a feel for if I knew cigars. So I think he got that feel pretty quick in the first 10 seconds. And immediately he jumps on his heels and he's like, well, forgive us, the humidor is kind of empty right now. I lie to you guys not. The humidor probably had enough space for maybe, I'm going to say around 40 sticks, 40 or 50 sticks. They may have had 15.
15 different cigars?
Yeah. And then, I saw the Gurkha.
Oh.
And so I ended up, where did I smoke? I forgot what I smoked. Grabbed 2 cigars, something light and something full. And when I sat down, the gentleman who was sitting next to me, who turned out to be a great guy, he's smoking Fat Bottom Bay.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is where we are right now. No shades to Fat Bottom Bay, but that's a very beginner cigar.
Yeah.
And it's just, and mind you, I was on Yelp for about a good 30 minutes looking for a place. This is the best place I found.
Whoa.
So their facings was probably just for their local customers.
And they're in a nice neighborhood.
That's probably it.
It's a pretty good location. So right off from the main street. There's just not a lot.
A lot of these places are that jump on all the mainstream stuff, Macanudo and Cohiba and a lot of that stuff. Those manufacturers are out of product right now. So one or two things happen. He's out of money, or the companies that he's decided to partner with, they just don't have any product.
Either way, it ends up.
It harms the end consumer.
No question. If you are somebody who knows what they're doing, you walk in that place. You guys probably would have left. You guys probably would have walked in, you probably would have left. But I was, the nicotine was calling me, so I needed a little something, you know what I mean? So I had to stay there. But
which is
nice people.
It pivots to a question that I have for all of you. Is cigar smoking addictive?
Okay.
I want your God-forsaken honest truth here.
I would have told you no before COVID. When COVID happened and it freed up my schedule to be more flexible, and I was able to work here every day, therefore smoke multiple times a day. I don't know if it's addictive from the standpoint of like chemically addictive, but it's definitely habit addictive, and it's definitely I love this addictive, and I miss this addictive.
Yeah.
Now I can go like I went to the lounge once while I was in Cleveland. I was there all week.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine if I was a cigarette smoker, I would have been going through withdrawal at that point.
Oh yeah.
So I do have to throw that out.
I think that's the addiction is you want this experience,
right?
And that's I can go. As many cigars as I smoke during the day, I can go days, weeks, whatever, without smoking a cigarette or a cigar. But to not come up here That's tough.
It really is. I think you're right. I think there is an element where nicotine to me is a lot like coffee. It's like, can I get up? Can I go to work? Can I not have a cup of coffee?
Sure.
Yeah. Do I want to? No.
Right.
Yeah. Do I get something out of a cup of coffee? Yeah. Now add the element, the human connection element, this right here. I think this is more addictive than anything.
That's the trump card, for sure.
And that is, to me, the real addiction is probably not only our desire, but our genuine need as humans to connect with other humans.
So to that point, I have a very good friend of mine. He's like a brother of mine. We're in the same industry. And he lives in a state where marijuana is legal. So he's a regular smoker. And I remember we were on a trip for about a week and a half, and he didn't have any access to anything legal. He's not dumb, so he's not across the line. But around day 4, he started sweating at night.
You're kidding?
Yeah, seriously. And he was like, I'm going to fucking withdraw. That's crazy. He was like, I'm going to withdraw. And I was like, so that being said, that doesn't happen. I can leave for I'm not sweating in my bed at night. It's not that. But like you said, I miss home.
What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah, same exact response. I'll give, I'm a cigar smoker, and I can, same as you, go without having a cigar, but I miss the interactions, and I'll miss the smell. But let's take Kathleen, for instance, who's a relatively new smoker. She can come in, sit in the lounge, and not smoke, but she loves the smell, and again, she loves the camaraderie of just the people that are around.
If you think about it, just as humans, when we're kids, all we wanted to do is get up in the morning and go play. So we go find our friends that we're going to play with, and we find somebody to play with. Particularly, I think men, as they go through school and then get careers and then have to raise a bushel of kids and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
You just you're at a bushel. So, but that goes away for a long period of time. Then when you're able to come back in and connect, whether you're 35 or 55, when you're able to come back in, it's like the old days of knocking on the neighbor's door. Come on, hey, can Johnny come out and play? This is the coming out.
It's the clubhouse. It's the tree house. It's the it is camaraderie.
There's 2 things that any professional athlete misses. 3 things once they're done playing. If they were bad with their money, they miss the money. 2, they miss the attention from the fan, the love, whether it's superficial or not. But 3, they miss the camaraderie in the locker room, that bond. The cigar culture provides that bond, that camaraderie that you get from like team sports.
Well, let's build on that, because why is the team camaraderie there? Why is it valuable? Because fall camp isn't fun. Fall camp sucks. You have to wake up, you get your ass kicked, you're out in the heat, it's not fun. But you struggle with somebody. And in here, there's always somebody struggling, and people are there to struggle with each other. And I think the best teams we probably all served on were people that we fought with.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I'm curious as to why. One thing, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when I do visit other lounges, places close at like 6 p.m. or they're open from 10 to 4.
Yeah.
That does not promote camaraderie. That's a place where you're going to pick up a stick and leave.
Mm-hmm.
The thing, about here, you gotta stay open late. That allows people to feel like they're at home and gives them a second home.
Yep.
So I think that's important too.
Yeah, I agree. All the way through. But let's not discount it. You get done with a good meal, you've got a good day.
Cigar.
I'm telling you,
Cigar.
there is something addictive about it, though.
There is.
Because when you get through that big meal, that drink, you get in, there's nothing like it. And it will pull you here, right? It will literally drive your car here.
For sure.
Because I think there is probably something within chemically that goes, maybe it doesn't affect you with withdrawals, but I think there is. It's probably a twofer. You just get that.
But don't you really want to be around people that are like-minded? And the one thing, no matter where somebody is economically or at in their life, or if they're going through troubles or not going through troubles, we have this brown stick of leaves that we look at as we have something in common, no matter what. And even the guy that's smoking a Fat Bottom Betty, you still have something in common.
Yeah,
They both
great
decided to stop and smoke a cigar.
We had a great conversation. That's a good point. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in the past. I mean, we call it the great equalizer. Right. This stick right here, we can sit, whether it be the public lounge here or any other lounge in the U.S., and we all have something in common. Whether it be a CEO of a company, a gun dealer, or whatever it is, right? And we all have that something in common, and we have that connection.
Well, in building off that point, here's the juxtaposition of where I'm at, where we're at with our lives, right?
That's a good word.
Thank you. I try to use it twice a day, so that's the first. But here's where we're at. There's something about cigars because if I were to do, like I look at some of my friends who live downtown, they go to the bar, they go to the bar, they go to the bar, they go to the bar. If I go to the bar more than once, I'm done, man.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
But my small group of friends, we have sat on my patio 1,000 times, and we sat in the same place, doing the same thing, drinking, having a cigar, and talking, and that never gets old. To me, that is like my paradise. A Saturday night in my backyard with my group of friends, smoking a cigar and having a drink. That is just, well, you can go away.
Mm-hmm. To that point, I think there's something to the fact that you remain coherent when you're smoking cigars.
Mm-hmm.
I think that adds another element of it opens up conversation, it opens up introspection. Like, you know, we drink too much of this here, or if we're smoking something else, after a little bit, we're not going to be very coherent, you know. So I think that's the balance with cigars. Like, there's a relaxation factor, there's a thinking factor that goes into it, especially once, like, we all know how to smoke cigars now, right? So, like, we're not just pulling at anything in order to feel some type of buzz or something. We are smoking it to get every note.
Right.
We're making it last. We're trying to preserve the ash, right? Like, we're trying to compare it to other sticks that we've smoked. So there's depth to it. It's very similar to the wine culture, in my opinion.
And it's a very similar process that the product goes through, right? Very similar.
Right.
And to me, I think you're exactly right. There is that overall kind of existential meaning that happens when you go through drinking wine, when you smoke a cigar, all of these things. It's deeper than face value.
And the thing is it's just, no one ever sits around and tries to identify the notes they're getting in a cigarette. No. So let's all meet at the lounge and smoke cigarettes together, because
we're kind of tar.
They're going, they're going for something different. Here, this forces you to stop, sit down, and the thing that I like is, and I'll throw this out there, is for the most part, when you sit and smoke cigars with somebody, you're having cigars with the real person. Not maybe the person that is on because they're a salesperson, or that the person that is in a different mindset when they're at work. Here they're off. They get to shut it off.
Well,
and you get a chance to meet that person.
There are some people.
There are some people that don't shut it off. Yeah, right? There's some people that don't shut it off.
We've been duped before, but
yes, we have.
You get time for them to show their ass. Pops, you've always said that. Give somebody enough time and they'll show you their ass.
And somebody told me a great quote. Somebody can only pretend for 90 days.
Yep.
You can only pretend for 90 days. When you're in an intimate setting, whether it be a workspace, right, in a work relationship, or a romantic relationship, or friendship, if you're day in and day out that person, they can only pretend for 90 days, and then the real news is going to come.
Interesting.
90 days.
Yeah.
That's the honeymoon phase, right?
Yeah. The first 3 months, for sure.
Yeah.
I have an interesting question for you guys. So we talked about how cigars, the process is closely in comparison with wine. Don't you guys find it interesting that some of the best things in life have to go through a slow process before you can enjoy it? Whether it be like food, right? Cars, golf.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just going to pick up a club and be good. It takes time.
Yep.
Right? Like, there are so many things that take time for you to truly enjoy. A good batch of tequila. It takes time. Jack Russian bourbon. Same thing. It takes time. I think that's very interesting. Very few things that are fast and quick produce depth and
Well,
results.
look at the complete other side of things. Instagram, TikTok, Insta famous, TikTok famous. But is that something that lasts, or is that something that's real?
It's neither.
I think it ruins. Because I mean, people are getting addicted to this instant fame. You think about professional athletes that you're around all the time. They miss that camaraderie. They miss that interaction with people. The people that are internet famous with a bunch of people they aren't actually connected to.
So they're still lonely.
So they're still by themselves. So as soon as all of a sudden they didn't get 100 likes, they got 4. Them some bitches are looking for the highest building to jump off. I mean, they've already showed the show that on Netflix about
The Social
Dilemma to show that the suicide rate of teenage girls went up as soon as the like button was invented. I mean, that is something that is just it's a scary reality of what's going on in the world today. But the problem, I mean, I've had situations in my own office where people are like, I'm like, well, what's the status on this? Well, I don't know. They haven't gotten back to me on email yet. They're 15 feet away. Go walk in their freaking office and ask them the question. People don't do interaction anymore. They just wait for a response.
Yeah, that's so funny because 2 weeks ago, remember you sent me, you didn't know I was here. And you sent me a text, right, about something we were working on, and I was right behind you, and I was like, hey, but he didn't know I was here. But to that point, I have a 15-year-old nephew. He's like my little brother. I love him to death. And he came and spent about a week with me here in Texas. And I was in the other room, and he texted me, asking me like something about delivery, something about food or something like, bro, I'm right. You can come knock on my door. You can come. I'm here. You know, speak to me.
Maybe that's what's different. Maybe this is true social connection versus what's happening in the marketplace.
I think that's why we see growth. I think that's why we're seeing it, because to your point and furthering this forward, it's our world is stripped of genuine connection. We're more connected than we've ever been, but we're more disconnected.
It's more superficial.
Right. We can see everything that happens across the world, but we'll text somebody when their food order's in.
But I'm going to tell you, so COVID exacerbated that. Because now companies have figured out that Zoom helps them be quote unquote more efficient, right? Helps them save money on the bottom line, right? Or increase their bottom line, whatever. And I don't know that efficiency isn't always the best. We're in a world right now where everybody's chasing efficiency, but sometimes efficiency leaves out organic, genuine interactions, genuine growth, right? Like accountability, going back to my nephew, not to harp on him, he's not watching me, he'll be fine. But
if he is, what are you doing, son?
Right. In Virginia, students in high school have an option to go back live or go back virtual, right? So my mom wants him to go back live, but be at school physically, right? He wants to go virtually, but it's because he can log into Zoom and then when that class is over, you can go back to sleep. You know, like, but that's not the real world.
That's
or is it?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Hopefully it isn't. Hopefully it isn't. Right? I mean, how important is it to go to school, you know, be in that awkward stage of life and have to work through your shit? Right?
Like we're all sitting right here, most likely because of somebody who we had a connection with. Right? We got into our careers.
Now you've got a situation where we have people that have now made that human connection.
Right.
And that's just a different thing altogether.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this dumped us for some reason.
Yeah.
Did yours kill off? Okay.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, it looked like we just paused for me. No. Steve McGee is in here. On ICC, but on Facebook. We're on Cigars and Guns Instagram. What's up to everybody who's joining us?
Hop back in. We had maybe some technical difficulties here, but you can jump back in. But I think as the internet's popped us off, one of the things.
You know what? How weird is that? Maybe we just triggered some sort of algorithm and said we were talking bad about what the future is, and it just dumped us off.
Or maybe it was because we were telling the parents that they should have their kids.
No, that's not it. That's not it. I told somebody they should bomb the TSA, and that didn't get us kicked off. So
That's aggressive.
it was aggressive. It was in context, though.
Okay.
It made sense.
But it is that human connection for sure.
Yeah.
That gets made.
Chuck, what was your entry into cigars?
Great question. I got hurt as a redshirt sophomore in college, and I banged my knee up pretty bad, and I immediately started coaching for my scholarship. It was a very unique situation. It was awesome. It changed my life for the better. When I got to about my senior year in undergrad, which would have been my about third season coaching on the sideline, one of my most influential mentors and one of my best friends in life, he's visited here. I was working for him, and we got connected because back then kids were sending DVDs every week, right, of their highlight tapes, and he had this big stack of DVDs just like piled on his desk. One day he was like, "Seawalls, come here." He's like, "You know how to recruit?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Good, I'm gonna teach you."
Oh, nice.
And so that launched a relationship between him and I. And once I became proficient as an evaluator, because we would meet every Friday. Well, probably about the third Friday when we started this, we're watching the video, and I was like, I really like this kid. We're watching. He gets about 2 plays in the highlight. He looks at me, "Why are we watching this?" Often, I'm like, "Why are you wasting my time?" "Yeah, you know what you're doing now." He's like, "Call Uno's, because Uno's Pizzeria, where I went to school on Friday, they did a cigar and jazz night. He's like, "Call Uno's from now on every Friday at 6 o'clock. Make sure we have a table at 6 o'clock." That's what we do now. So that was my entry to cigars. He gave me my first cigar to smoke. I think my first cigar was a Padermo, and that's where it started. And that was back in 2011 or 2012. And that's where it started.
Well, that's a great story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fuck this meeting. He's like, "You know what you're doing.
Get the beach
Yeah,
place
yeah,
going.
Let's go."
Call the
Pizza shop with cigars.
Awesome. They had an outside patio, and then they had a live jazz band coming. It was awesome. Just a unique experience.
So everybody that's watching, hopefully you got your keyboards handy. Let us know what your first cigar was. I mean, mine, obviously, I don't know if it counted because mine had a plastic like tip on it. The Swisher Sweet. But one thing I remember is once I started, I remember it was 1994, I went to a golf trip with a friend of mine that I now work with and work for in Lake Tahoe. And a guy handed me an LFD that was from '94, obviously, but that particular cigar tasted so good, and it pushed all the buttons that said, "This is what a good cigar tastes like."
Yeah.
And at that point, I realized what I had been smoking was just off smoke.
Yeah.
And when I finally tasted good, man, it was so good. And then actually in 2000, LFD replicated that blend again. And I'll never forget, it had a pink flower on it. You know, we remember when stuff is based on the label. But that to me was the cigar that just said, "Oh, this is what they're supposed to taste like." Now, since then, we've had a lot of really good cigars. We've had a lot of really bad cigars. I'm smoking one of my top 5 favorites of all
That's
time.
your second one of the day.
The second one of the day. Just by miracle, we got them. So, but it's awful good.
What do you smoke?
I don't know
160.
if we should be going about this.
What? Why not?
Talking and putting it out in the air.
We got them.
All right, if we got it, then talk about it. Go ahead. Here they go. Don't sit and wait.
This is the Partagas 160. What's unique about this cigar is the crop of tobacco is from 1972. So I'm about to turn 60. That was 50 years ago. 49 years ago that crop was in the ground. It was harvested. It was put on a boat. It was sent to Spain in order to be assembled into a cigar, and it was stolen. And in 93, 94, Spanish officials found it. It was in a humidified warehouse. It was, back then everything was by ship. And so this tobacco sat from 72 to about 93, so it was 21-year-old tobacco. They rolled about half of it in 1995. It was called the Partagas 150. and then they did a Partagas 160 in 2005. They put a 1977 Cameroon wrapper. Cameroon wrappers are from Africa, just really citrusy and floral. But the age of this tobacco, it's when you smell the foot, it's just so good. And Partagas has really been pushing to get on the floor. And I gave them one stipulation: find 160s and we'll do it. And now it's been almost a year, but they found them, and we have them in 3 different sizes. They came in yesterday, and it's just unbelievable. It's one of the first boxes of cigars you bought.
It was the first
box.
That was the first box.
Yeah.
First box I ever bought.
Yeah.
Partagas 160.
Damn, that's a solid box.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's unbelievable. And the kicker is,
this is the stupid part.
it's the new ones, the new sizes we have are non-member prices are $19, $22, and $23.
Now in the secondary market, they're $75, $85, $100.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we were able to get 6 boxes of each, and it's just really, really, really special.
Frank Frank's saying, "Oh, it's okay." He smoked one of them. He was just inhaling it, just taking it to that.
It is one of those cigars that you could literally, you pull it in, you go, yeah, I can inhale.
Yeah, you can inhale those for sure.
That's no problem.
But
if you want to taste vintage, if you want to taste, it's just, damn, it's good.
Is there still boxes left?
Yeah, just came in yesterday.
yeah, he's the only one that smoked any of them. He smoked basically all of them.
Well, the night's not over yet.
I have a curveball question for you guys. Kind of take us off track a little bit.
Do it.
I've never been to Vegas before.
Oh.
I know. But we're changing that. We're fixing that problem. I'll be there on Sunday, August 15th. I'm flying in the morning. I got about a 2-day gap until I got to do work. So, where am I smoking, gentlemen?
You know what? You're going to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is smoke everywhere. Don't smoke somewhere, smoke everywhere.
Okay.
Just have a cigar all the time in the casino, walking around, because it's better to people watching walk and smoke than it is to go to lounge.
Yeah, otherwise you could go to Casa Fuente, which you can do both.
Yeah, Casa Fuente, which
Casa
is at
Fuente is
the
at the-
Venetian.
Yeah, it's in
Caesar's
Palace.
That's worth going to.
It's worth going
I've
to.
heard I gotta get there early. Like, if you get there too late,
You'll be fine. Nah, you'll be
You
fine.
like mojitos?
Oh,
They
They're
have the best
That's-
mojitos there.
No,
That was cool. And last time we went out to Vegas, we were out there. Yeah, that's a place because it's right in the shops of Caesar. So you've got a beautiful view.
Yeah,
and
so
like the rare, they'll have all the rare opus and stuff, but
they're about $1,000 a cigar.
it's ridiculous. I mean, it's the cheapest cigar, and there's right 35.
Well, I mean, I'm bringing all this stuff.
That's
So walk.
So what we do when we go to the trade show, we typically will go to the Wynn, and there's a little bar right at the entrance, and you can sit in there and smoke.
It's called the Parasol.
It's called the Parasol, and you can sit in there and smoke and drink, and it's ideal people watching environment.
Because
So
you get the 10s, but then you get the 1s. You get everything.
you get
Supreme people watch.
Supreme. Yeah, you'll empty your own ashtrays.
Okay.
As Busy was emptying our ashtrays. And he was all pissed off at her.
and they were looking at him like an alien. Like, what are you doing?
Why would you empty that? That doesn't make no sense.
But it is not there's cigars everywhere, but there's nothing like this. There's a Davidoff lounge. One of our guys went there, he got a $75 or $100 Davidoff. It started unraveling. So he took it up to the counter, and the guy's like, well, I've got one more I'll sell you, but I'm almost out of them. And he's like, no, but it's like looked like ribbon.
No, the outdoor one, that's gone.
No, it's still there.
It's a pizza place.
No, the one at the Fashion Mall.
Yeah, we walked past there. It's got
not
pizza
in there anymore?
No, it has like fresh pizza in the windows. It's gone.
Maybe there's some fresh pizza now.
Maybe there's pizza and jabs. I mean, that would work well.
Hey,
It's a cool spot. I mean, I wouldn't want to sit outside in Vegas in August.
No, it's when we were just there 3 weeks ago, it was 117. And when you're walking on the black asphalt, it's about 127.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just pick a spot.
Yeah, pick a spot.
Parasol's good. Sun's out, pick a spot.
Speaking of which, one of the things you talked about in the beginning when you talked about how camp sucks, nobody ever talks about how, one, especially like on artificial turf, your feet burn. And then it stinks. When it's hot, the rubber, it stinks. There's a distinct smell.
So we had to, there was one day in fall camp in Nebraska that was so hot that the trainers made us stretch inside because we would burn our skin if we were on the turf. We had to go inside to stretch.
I believe it.
That was not, but there is that.
Absorbing the heat.
Well, it's got tire in it.
It's got tire,
yeah.
So it just heats up.
It's
Like your feet legitimately like burn on the bottom. And I played O-line, so we like all of our feet always had to give it around for balance. At the end of the day, you got blisters on it. It's awful.
So we're on the verge of football season starting, so I'm going to kick this off onto another angle. But you've been around and analyzed so many players over the years.
Yeah.
Because you were a scout for the Packers first, and then you just went to the Browns a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, this is my second year.
Second year, and you were what 8 years at the Packers. So you're around Aaron Rodgers, you're around all these guys, right? And then is there anybody you've ever been starstruck seeing? Because a lot of the people here, I mean, just the thought that some former NFL guy that maybe didn't have a football card, all of a sudden they show up and it's like they're walking on water. Is there ever been a time where you show up and you're just like, holy shit, that's
Okay, so that's a great question. I will tell you this: the first time I ever went out to practice with the Packers, I was an intern, summer intern, and there's Aaron Rodgers. Well, he actually ended up breaking the ice because Aaron's gonna let you know he's Aaron. And the way he let me know he was Aaron was he saw me, gave me a nod, and he threw me a ball. And I mean, he threw me the ball. Like he flipped it and I caught it. Tossed it back to him and gave him a nod. It was like a respect thing. He probably wouldn't even remember that, but that was kind of so I didn't get starstruck over him. And then that kind of broke the ice for me. Period. I've never been starstruck by a player that was on my team or when I did a game advance. That hasn't happened. But where I was starstruck is the first time I saw John Elway. He's the GM for Denver. And I saw him at an All-Star game in LA in the parking lot. He pulls up in his Porsche. He's got this black Gucci coat on, black Gucci frames. And I was like, that's John Elway. That was my...
Because that's when we were kids.
Yeah. That was
So when you saw him play when you were into football when you were a kid, those are the ones that matter. But a lot of these guys now that were just a dude when you watched them in college and may or may not have watched film on him and said, let's pass or let's take him. Those guys now, if they sign gazillion-dollar contracts, you know when they were begging to get attention.
Yeah.
And so those guys, it probably doesn't register, but...
And now my perspective is more so I'm almost a decade in, and now I see the business differently now. We are all there to produce a product for the fan. So, guys, they're way more important to me. They make way more money than me. Fans show up for them, but we're all in it for the same really purpose. Yeah. But the guys, like you said, who I watched as a kid, that's a different perspective.
Yeah.
I was in awe of them in a different way. One of the coolest.
Because you were interested in the product.
Yes.
Not making the product, you were interested in the product.
So I would consider myself blessed because one of the coolest experiences I had was at the Combine, the NFL Combine maybe 2 or 3 years ago. My role was to be on the field at the Combine with a specific position. That particular year was quarterbacks, the throwing quarterbacks. And Torrey Holt was on the field. Now, if Torrey ever hears this, I hope he does.
He's probably watching.
Yeah. Him and John Elway.
John.
We call him John.
What's up, John?
Torrey Holt should be an NFL head coach. There's no question about it. I was able to talk to him. We were just sitting there watching receivers run routes and catch the ball.
Torrey Holt from the Rams?
Yes.
Okay.
His football acumen is unlike any I've ever been around. He he is legitimately a great teacher. He's a great football mind, and he's super personable. Like here I am, you know, an NFL scout. At the time I was maybe 7 years in. He's a Hall of Famer, and he was talking to me just like I caught balls with him, you know, in the Super Bowl. Like he was awesome. So those experiences are what I cherish for sure.
So you've had those this is happening moments. Yeah. Mine ties into the cigar world. Sitting in Cuba, and I'm at a seminar with probably one of the world's most renowned rollers, and I have a bib on, or not necessarily a bib, but
It's an apron.
An apron. And I had this cluster of Cuban tobacco, and I had this board and Chivetta, and I had the earpiece on, like you're at an international, you know,
like a G13
yeah,
summit.
you're like at a G13 summit, right? You have this on so that somebody's speaking English on what he's doing, and he's showing us how to roll a cigar. And I was with Oliver, and I'm like, this is happening right now. I mean, it was just, I'm here. I'm in Cuba, and I'm rolling a cigar with this guy's teaching me how to do it, and mine didn't look anything like his.
Do you have yours? Did you bring yours back?
Oh, I smoked it. No, hell yeah, I smoked. Actually, Oliver and I both smoked our cigars, and we shot a evaluation video of that, and it was pretty classic.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was.
I remember
classic.
that. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a terrible cigar. You did a bad job.
Well, we didn't have a press. I mean, we didn't have presses to stick them in. So once I watched when we had the roller here from the night at the factory, I thought, well, shit, I can do that. I mean, I did that already. And then he puts it in the press, and it all looks like pretty when it's all done.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what was crazy was the guy that was on stage was making them, rolling them by hand, and they looked like they were in a press. That was impressive.
Wow.
That was really impressive.
Why is it that, as esteemed as this cigar industry is in the history, I mean, the rich history behind cigars, right? And, you know, there's so many smokers in the world, and there's so many companies, and so many, like a good handful of good ones. How come there's never been like a movie about cigars? Like, how come there's never been like a biopic about somebody?
I think it's a pop culture thing,
Okay.
and I think it's the culture, the general culture we're in. Because think of any single character who's smoking a cigar. Is it ever the hero? Right? It is. I mean, maybe you have a John Wayne here and there. You know, maybe there's, you know,
Churchill did pretty good.
Yeah, but if you really look at it from a pop culture standpoint, my question to it is, why are cigars not a bigger part of the world? And maybe I should frame that differently. Why is it so hard to get people to smoke a cigar? When we see how easy it is to just enter and enjoy it and get together, why is it not bigger?
I think to the layperson, they think of it as like a nasty habit, like a
I think we're starting to see the turn with younger guys come in, but I think I'm going to say you're a younger guy. People look at it, if you're, let's say you're under 30, that's something my dad does. Now we're starting to see younger guys that are coming in because they see it as, this is going to make me look like I'm more mature. But I think for a while it was an older man thing, or an older. You didn't see a lot of women smoking. Look how many women we have smoking right now. But I think it is it's a different environment now. I got hooked on that series called Startup, and Ron Perlman is in this series, and he's a very avid cigar smoker. Very, very avid cigar smoker outside the movies and TV roles.
Yeah.
And there was a scene that just encapsulated cigar smoking at that particular moment. This younger guy that was coming in, and he was partnering up with in this startup.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his dad was crooked. He gets this guy in. The kid comes in. He's 30. Comes in. And he's like, all right, sit down, pour yourself a drink, let's have a cigar. He goes, I don't smoke. And he goes, it's not smoking, it's a cigar. Yeah. And I thought, you just nailed it.
Yes,
it's not smoking, it's a cigar.
Yep.
And that and the people that are on this right now, they get it. They know what that means. And he really just encapsulated. You think about Tony Soprano, and you think about some of these guys that it was such a part of what supported their character.
Yeah.
You know, could you imagine Tony Soprano calling out a hit if he was smoking a cigarette? It just, you know, you see it with the Russians. You know, when the Russian mob guys are all sucking on their cigarettes, but you know, you expect that from the Russian guys. We're going to get back now by the Russians because they're watching.
How did you guys? So to our point earlier, we've traveled all over the world, and you know we're cigar famous, so we try to find a place where we can go find an extension of our home here. And very often, 9.5 times out of 10, that place doesn't live up to the standard that you guys have created.
Yeah.
So my question is, how did you guys go about making it so different? You know, like, what was your mindset going in, and then how did you, if you don't mind me asking, how did you execute it? Like, how come I walk in here, and like you said about the place in Cleveland, they may be getting product from a company who they're in a shortage right now. I walk in the humidor right there, there's no shortage of anything. I can walk in and get anything I want. That takes, to me, that's not by chance, that's not by luck. So I've never really heard the story. So how did you guys even like do this? How did you
Well, importantly, and I think this goes to what we're talking about, we're not cigar guns. We're not old white guys who smoke cigars because we want to get paid for our hobby. This is what we wanted to do. We wanted something that was as impactful to our life, you know, for other people as it is for us. You know what I mean? And cutting corners is not an option.
I think, you know, when Andrew was traveling a lot for golf and Nathan was traveling a lot for track, we would go to cigar lounges once we had kind of decided this is what we wanted to do. And we would travel around the country, particularly with Andrew, we would travel all over the country when he was doing his long drive stuff. And we'd go to cigar lounges. And we were basically making a list of the to-don'ts, not the to-dos, because very few did a lot of things right. But we went to a nice place in Kansas City one time. Filthy. It was just like an inch of dust on glass, and it was just filthy. So you start kind of assembling what the place should be. But I think the biggest thing, it's the reason that Brandon did 2-a-days at Nebraska by himself, because he wasn't practicing with the team, because he was wired, because he wanted to do it. It's like the NFL players. There is a drive to want to do it. And we want this to be a special experience, and I think a lot of guys get into it for the wrong reason. If they're getting into it to make money, they've lost already. But you just have to want people to have a great experience. If somebody came to me and said, "Hey, your pricing is lower than everybody else's, congratulations," I'd be like, "I don't care." But if one person came in and said, "Man, this place sucks," I'd be crushed. Yeah. It was like when I coached Little League football, the biggest thing, the success to me wasn't, I mean, we would lose every game.
For many years.
For many years, we lost every game.
We beat the
But I would be crushed if a kid didn't want to come back the next year, because that means he didn't have a good experience and he didn't want to play football anymore. So I want people to want to have a cigar tomorrow. And the way that happens is they make the connections that we've talked about already.
And my biggest stress right now, as we continue to grow, we get ready for the next phase, is how do we successfully take, right now it's easy, right? It's easy no, but it is. Okay. You know, it is pretty.
Is it easier to analyze a player today than it was when you were a first year?
Absolutely.
Well, right. So it's not easy, but we understand the workload. So it's easier to accept the workload and then just do it. But it's easy to give a shit and make it easy to shake everyone's hand when you walk in the building. And to build a community, we know how to do that. And it's our challenge now, personally, it's my challenge as from the brand experience standpoint, is how do we relay that? And how do we get that to a point where we can bring in people who know nothing about who we are, educate them about it, get them to understand the why, and get them to be able to outwardly portray what it is to be ICC. And And that's where my daily struggle in my life is how big can this become while retaining who we are? Can we have, does it mean we need to do one location that's massive? Do we do 5? Can we bottle this up and do the Disney experience is all over the world? Is it possible? I don't know. But we're in the very first stages of taking it and transforming it into something where it's not Frakes who are here making it a Frakes family environment.
Right.
How can you pull Frakes from the having to work every shift
So keep it
and still keep it?
So this
Keep the
That's why we couldn't have somebody write a check in Cleveland and then hope that they pull it off.
right. So like that's why you're doing
my encouragement to you, both of you, would be one of my favorite phrases is that attitude reflects leadership. All right. So first off, because you have that attitude, that service-minded, that culture-minded attitude, first and foremost, you will then hire leaders who have the same attitude, and then you will train them with the details, right? Mm-hmm. That's what's most important. The problem is you have companies that get too big, and then they just want to branch out, and then they forget their essence. So they hire leaders, or they hire general managers to run these locations. They lose that essence, that spirit of what they are, because they're just making more money.
Right.
You guys will not have that problem. Mm-hmm. So I encourage you, don't let the next phase stress you. Be encouraged by the fact that you are an honorable businessman. You're an honorable piece of this community, and when you branch out, however you decide to do it,
we'll do it right.
Yeah,
and thank you for saying that. And it's just I actually saw Steve McGee, and hopefully he's on here, but it goes to the point of just making sure that we work with companies who roll and take care of their rollers, but for us, it's also our team being taken care of. Like Steve McGee put it deals like stay up later or stay open later. But for us, it's better to close at 10 on the weekdays and 11 on the weekends because our staff can be fresher and our experience can be upheld. Because it's a big difference to get out of here at 10:30 or 12:45. Yeah. It's a big difference.
Well, we had one staff member, the other day that said, he works part-time. My 4-hour shift actually is 6 hours because I'm an hour to get here and an hour to leave. So if we leave at 11 and you clean until 11:30 and he doesn't get home until 12:30, it's the performance you're going to get out of that guy, and you want to have the maximum experience.
You want him excited to walk in the door. So yes, our growth is slow and methodical, but our growth is occurring right now, and we will grow. We will hit that next phase. But I'll tell you what, our mindset isn't how many places can we go. Our mindset is enjoying. I just had this conversation. He said, how are you doing? I'm fortunate to have lived enough life at this point where I understand what nostalgia feels like when you make it. Yeah. And right now I'm making nostalgia. I'm going to look back at this time and love it. And we enjoy every second of it. This exact moment right now.
So to our earlier comment, you asked me about what the cigar culture means to me. And we had a big conversation about camaraderie. I have to shout Rodney out. This is very important. So to that point about camaraderie, community, networking, so since I met Rodney has invited me to every event where someone said whiskey.
Really?
He's trying.
Rodney, I think my shit got lost in the mail.
But I bring that up to say, you guys know I work a crazy schedule, along with starting this new business venture on the side for me. When I announced that business venture publicly for my vending company, Rodney was one of the first people to respond to me. Now, mind you, I haven't been to one event of Rodney's, and I've kind of felt bad about it, right? But it kind of is what it is. And he was one of the first people to go, "Hey man, what are you doing? Oh, let me see if I can help."
Yeah.
Right? Whatever I can do, explain to me what you're doing, what you want to do, and I will help you. Like, even the fact that he would say that but it's not just him. That's a reflection of the community you guys have built.
Yeah.
And we truly do have a family here. And I mean, I would never.
I'm going to give Rodney a shout out too, even though he has a handicap, if you will, which is the Oklahoma thing.
Yeah.
And which is why he doesn't invite me to anything, because he knows I'll wear Husker stuff to the event.
That's real red, baby.
That's real red.
Is that still a rivalry now with who wants the SEC?
It's a rivalry between me and Rodney, no matter what. Oh, you can play in Canada, and which is probably where they might.
Yeah, they're going to go to Ontario, yeah.
But Rodney came in here when we first started working together, and he's talking about all the stuff he can do, and I finally stopped him. Because I've taken a couple more laps than everybody else. I finally stopped him and just said, how much? Because none of this shit is going to come for free. Right. So how much do you want? Right. And he goes, no, I want to help you guys grow because you're good people. And that is easy to go back and try to help him. We instantly started promoting and pushing, some would say whiskey and all those things, and watched him go from 600 members to now 13,000 members. But we hope that we had that little bit of grease to help make some of that stuff happen. So, you find these great relationships in these, and I think Rodney will even attest to, look at the connections that he's made, because I've seen the pictures who he actually does invite to parties. I'm not bitter, I'm over it. But there are members. Yeah. That he's connected with. One's just walking right by right now. Yeah. I think that, and he's connected us with Ken Hamlin and some other stuff that's just happened with connections. Good people introduce people to other good people. Question. Because in a sense, I'm putting my seal of approval on somebody if I'm making that introduction, because that means something.
No question.
So it is. That's been really a cool relationship.
Yeah, and I think it all comes down to when you have a dear friend of yours that says, "Hey, I got a guy. You gotta meet him. You're gonna like him." And if Adrian has done this,
think about Brownell's relationship.
Oh, I mean, just think of any of the guys that he's walked in the door. Hey, I've got a guy. You're gonna like him. I know. There's no wading through bullshit. It's okay. I trust him. You trust him. I trust him.
That's right.
I think that's a huge element of cigar culture. Is everyone looks out for each other, and they're not going to just put them in with the wolves. And the people who are here for the wrong reason, solely to network or solely to grow their business, or they weed out quick. Yeah. Those who are there to enrich each other's lives, they're in here.
Yeah. What I said earlier, people will show you who they really are after 90 days, and it quickly gets exposed.
Yeah.
Quickly gets exposed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if there's, as you guys know, I turned old as white dog shit on Saturday, but there's one benefit that comes with that. I always say, I've been 30 before, I've been 40 before, I've been 50 before, so I've had a chance to see it. Usually, I've been duped a couple times, but it doesn't take 90 days, because something will leak out, and you go, now I've seen this happen 2 or 3 times before. Yeah. I had a guy that, and by the time we got back to the front counter after giving him a tour, he told me, he goes, I want to be in the back. I said, well, there's a waiting list, and he said, I don't care what it takes, I'll pay you double, and I'll pay you in cash, and I'll pay you for the full year. I said, sorry man, we're still full. But what triggered that was, on the way back, I knew that he had a $15,000 watch, I knew what kind of car he drove, and I knew what kind of country club he was all about what he had. I don't want to know that guy.
Yeah.
I want to know what your kids do. Yeah. And a lot of times those guys, they have kids, but their kids are a pain in the ass, and they don't talk to them, and they're a pain in the ass for a reason. Yeah. There's no relationship, no connection.
And you all vet the guys that hang out back here, right? There's not one person that I can sit here and say, he doesn't belong back here.
Right.
And this guy could have been it, right? Just because if you're chasing money, right, you've been like, oh, that sounds sweet, done. And then, he can be in the back, and start getting feedback from us. And
Can I share a quick story with you guys? It fits right into this conversation we're having about genuine people and connections. There's a professor at Harvard. He's 29 years old. His name's Max Ramsayer. I hope I'm saying his last name correct.
He's probably watching.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Sorry, Max, if I butchered that, buddy. I was coming back from this conference in San Francisco a few months back, and I'm in the airport, and he had on this cool, like, Lakers varsity jacket. It was early in the morning. We were at this diner, so it was just me and him. He walked by. We struck up a conversation. Turns out, and obviously I didn't know he was a Harvard professor when I saw him. Right?
29 years old.
29 years old. He looks 29 years old. Great energy. Just one of the nicest people I've ever met on earth. And we struck up a conversation. Turns out he's an adult behavior specialist. All right. This young man went to Duke for undergrad and started a major there before he left. All right. He's a genius. Right now, I'm working with him on hopefully trying to integrate him with our process that we do in Cleveland.
Oh, shit.
Because like here at ICC, the leadership now in Cleveland is very much about genuine people, genuine growth in every aspect. So anyway, actually this morning, Max and I did this project, which he calls a brain immunity map. All right, so his theory is that just like the human body has an immunity against germs and foreign objects, right? It fights against it. Well, our brains fight against change. Right? So if there's something negative that we all have in our life, whether it be a trait or an aspect, something that we're doing that's negative, that prevents a certain level of happiness, our brain will actually fight off the ability to make that change and create that happiness naturally. So he has an exercise where he takes you through this map. You identify something that's bothering you or something that you feel will make you happier, and then you go through it unlocks your fears, the obstacles, the change. This exercise probably took about an hour and a half, and I'll tell you guys, like, it was amazing. Like, but
That sounds so cool.
it's awesome, and one day I'll take you guys through it if you're interested. But I say that to say, to back up the point, genuine people attract genuine people. And genuine people introduce genuine people to other genuine people. So just by that interaction of him having a Lakers coat on, and I just noticed how cool it was, we connected, and hopefully, you never know what that relationship will end up being. But I can stand on this table right now and say, like, I will be working with Max in the future.
That's so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So with that, smoke cigars. Get your kids to smoke cigars, and then look for kids in airports with Lakers, with cool Lakers.
Just don't automatically blow off 29-year-olds because they might be a professor at Harvard.
That's a real thing. That's real. That's real. Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone who took the time to sit and smoke a cigar with us. Thank you, Chuck.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys. No,
awesome.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. That's it. Well,
you're here.
See you Saturday at the shop.
His 60th birthday, Saturday at the shop. Come up to the shop.
Made it.
Yeah.
Survived.
That's it. So we will see you